So Mayor Pugh, she's a newly elected mayor. She, in her questionnaire for the AFL-CIO, they asked her, would she support a $15 minimum wage? She said yes, she would on the questionnaire. She got the support because she committed to supporting a $15 minimum wage, the entire Fight for 15 movement that's going on around the country. Because she said she supported it, she gained the support of many Baltimore citizens because of it. And as a result of that, the city council of Baltimore passed a raise of the minimum wage for the year 2020 to $15 an hour. They passed it for a vote by 12-3. So overwhelmingly passed it. All she had to do to keep her commitment to the questionnaire of the AFL-CIO and to the people of Baltimore who voted for her specifically because she committed to raising the minimum wage. All she had to do, not lobby for it, not try to twist any arms. They handed it to her on a silver platter, 12-3. All she had to do was sign it. And this is her response. This is what she said in response to the bill coming to her desk.
I have deliberated over the last few days as to what to do about the increase in the minimum wage. I talked to ministers, I talked to nonprofit helping organizations in the city. When you think about, for example, the 76,000 people who are unemployed in our city that we need to get working, and many of you know that we have 10,000 returning citizens every single year in coming back to our city, and then the 3,000 people who are homeless in our city. It is important as the chief executive officer of this city that I take in consideration all of the needs of all of the people of Baltimore. I don't think there's anybody that wants more to see the minimum wage increase than I do. So for those reasons and the economic impact that I think that this has on the city, making us the hole in the donut, it is not appropriate at this time that I would sign this bill. So I am vetoing this bill.
All right, so that's her first part of her statement. It was a 12-minute press conference where she said she's going to veto this bill. She didn't want to be the hole in the donut. She continued to use a lot of language describing a lot of standard Republican talking points to describe the reason she was not going to support a raise in the minimum wage. She felt like it's not going to make the city of Baltimore competitive. She believed that it was going to put them at a disadvantage for surrounding areas. The fact of the matter is, Baltimore, if you know anything about the economics of Baltimore, it is already at a disadvantage. They already have a homeless population of 3,000 people. I believe the unemployment rate is ridiculous there in Baltimore. So doing this, using this as an excuse to prevent homelessness and to prevent a lack of competitiveness and to increase the unemployment rate is really a non sequitur, because it is really a red herring, rather, because those things already exist. That's number one. Number two, it just economically is not consistent with the results that we're seeing in cities like Seattle. And then number three, most of all, this was her commitment. These are things, if she could not do it after she got elected, then surely she should have had enough evidence before she got elected and not committed to the people of Baltimore, the Fight for 15, the AFL-CIO. This is something that this is a classic case of someone turning coat as soon as they get into office. And what's her justification? Her justification is she didn't swear on the Bible, right? Listen to this last clip from her.
You know, I don't think they make you swear on the Bible. They ask you if you would support, and I absolutely do support. But when you ask me as the chief executive officer of this city, what I will do as it relates to the conditions of the city currently and where we are economically, I have a right and a responsibility to respond on behalf of all the citizens of this city.
All right, so we could have the economic conversation. We can have the debate over whether an increase in the minimum wage makes you less competitive, et cetera, et cetera. We can talk about all the economic factors. The fact of the matter is that she committed to doing it, and then she backed out on it as soon as she was elected. That's number one. Number two, it is almost impossible for people to live on the minimum wage as it stands right now. Number three, companies, if you want to have a conversation on the economics of it, companies don't want to pay a minimum wage to begin with. It's not that they're afraid of just going up to $15 an hour for minimum wage. They do not want to pay a minimum wage to begin with. We've seen historically, we've seen throughout the globe, the globalization, they will find and seek the cheapest labor they possibly can. And so if you put your city in competition with another city to see who can have the lowest wage, it's going to be a perpetual race to the bottom. That's how it always works, not only on a city by city level, state by, not so much state by state level, but definitely on country by country. It's a race to the bottom that no one can win. The reality of it is unless the government steps in and demands that corporations pay a living wage, these corporations will never pay a living wage. And you're going to always see an increase in the cost of what you're purchasing from that corporation. This is another argument that you try to float. You don't want to pay $15 for your hamburger. Well, hell, the McDonald's is raising their prices anyway, right? 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I was younger, you could get a value meal for $2.99. Now you're paying damn near $11 for a value meal from McDonald's, and they're not passing any of that to their workers. Their workers are still making as close to minimum wage as they could possibly get away with. So these are all deflections used by Republicans. But this is a black woman, Democratic mayor of the city of Baltimore. So we see this as a tactic that is employed by neoliberals. On top of the insult to injury, the insult to injury is this: she flat out lied to the voters. She flat out lied in her questionnaire, and then she blamed it on the fact that she didn't swear on the Bible. This is beyond problematic. The city of Baltimore, the people need to respond in kind. Because if you elected her to do something specifically, and then she did the exact opposite, when she didn't have to lobby, she didn't have to go and twist arms, the city council of Baltimore handed this to her on a silver platter, 12-3. All she had to do was sign it, and she took it upon herself to go against not only the city council, but against all the people she made promises to. This is the city of Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh.